So we are joined by Laurence Llewelyn-Bowen now. Welcome.
Well, thank you for letting me join you.
First time in Whitehaven.
It's not. I can't remember when I last came to Whitehaven. I mean, one of the things about a 20-year career in show business. No, I mean, one of the things that about the kind of programs I make is that I'll film all over the country, and it just sort of runs from one thing to another. It was a history program, I remember, but which is entirely appropriate because I think the history in Whitehaven is amazing. Really, I think it's funny because I think so many people come to the area obviously to wear a cagoule and to climb a mountain.
And you've done completely the opposite.
I've done completely the opposite. Exactly.
Very dapper.
Exactly. But I think they should appreciate the history and the architecture, which I think is lovely.
And have you had a chance to have a look around the town yet, or have you just been?
Just very much a quick whisk. But I think what's happened here in the marina is incredibly inspirational for a lot of coastal communities, because I think there's this terrible moment where finally the erosion of the traditional economies and the traditional industries, the traditional employment suddenly means that there's nothing. But you can reincarnate, you can reinvigorate, and I think Whitehaven is an icon of that. And actually, looking back, life was very, very tough with the traditional industries. Life is nothing like as tough being a computer programmer. Or whatever people do around here now.
Sellafield.
Yeah, well, exactly. What a lovely, warm place to work. It's the most visited. Isn't it the most visited place in? Is it the most visited free attraction in the country? Or it was for several years. Yeah.
No, it's now in the Beacon Museum.
Is it?
Yes. But you're not going to have time to go and have a.
Sadly, no.
You've got shows to perform.
Exactly, which makes me sound like a performing monkey.
Do apologise. So what are you going to be talking about?
Well, I'm going to talk about colour. I think Brits are still a bit colour-phobic. And I think colour is an incredibly dense topic. And one of the interesting things actually that's come up relatively recently is the internet sensation of the dress. Is it blue and brown or is it gold and black or whatever? Really affirms the fact that we do all see colour in very different ways. But colour is something that can have an incredibly strong effect on an environment. And I think this is something that people fear. I think a lot of the time with Brits, they fear something that looks too big, too much of a commitment. And what I want to try and do with a talk like this is to show people that when you understand it, it's not so scary. And I think as a nation, we're very good. We're very good at taking on information. We're very good at wanting to know the backstory on things. We're a pub quiz nation. We like to know the facts, and so it's a sort of a scamper through the history and sociology of colour, really.
And you are quite renowned for your use of colour. I remember watching you on changing rooms, and it was always very bright and very flamboyant. And is that sort of, do you think your style has changed, progressed, or do you think that's...
No, I mean, I think there's no doubt about it. I like interior design to be full fat. I don't like diet design at all. I don't like skinny minimalism. And so, if I'm going to be using colour, I will use colour in a very emphatic way. But I do other stuff as well. It's not just about splashing the rainbow around. Although I think that with a show like Changing Rooms, it always was. It was always quite panto. It was always quite tabloid, which is great. I mean, it was it's something that really invigorated the nation to become engaged with their interior design. But a lot of the other shows I did, like Homefront and Fantasy Rooms and Taste, and all the other design shows, were about more detail, bringing more detail to the equation. But I mean, I think that we are very quick to. There's something known as the car park effect in the trade, which is very sad. Which is basically is when someone has thought long and hard about how they want to redecorate somewhere, where they want to be much more emphatic. They want to use more colour. They want to use more pattern. They want to create their perfect environment. They've got it all in their heads. They go to the DIY store or the curtain store or whatever. They park their car, and by the time they've walked from their car to the store across the car park, all of that confidence is gone. And what happens is that they end up then just buying what they bought before, and they become very sad as a result of that. And I'm very keen to try and help people through that. I think that lack of confidence before you actually make the purchase is a real Achilles heel in all of this. It would be great to encourage people to stick with the faith and do it, do it properly, do it with a real sense of personality.
And why do you think that the people are losing that confidence?
Not enough gin. There should be should be someone standing there with a gin and tonic saying, "It's all right, love. It's going to be great. It's going to be good." Well, I think it's an intimidating thing. It's it's putting your money where your mouth is, and I think that actually one of the things that I try and do a lot with the retailers I work with is to give the customer an increased sense of confidence actually when they come to the product. Whether that's with point of sale or the way that the product's presented, or the way I package all my products is an enormous amount of information on them. Loads of information, all for free. It's all included, but it just stuff about where the design comes from, where the inspiration comes from, how it can be used, how it can be applied, and that I always hope is a kind of a bridge for people into making it that little bit more successful, making them feel as if they can actually take it home with them.
Yeah. And you've sort of moved, it seems like you've moved a little bit away from interior design and started focusing on the products. I
do much more, yeah. I do very little interior design now. It is much more specifically product design, which I'm completely happy with, because I can get to a much, much bigger audience, obviously. And now with my brand, I've got a variety of international brands. It's the House of Laurence. We've now got 10 stores in China, just doing the Laurence look with quartz, which opens next week in Singapore, Malaysia and Indonesia. And then just working on the Laurence look for the UAE and the Middle East. And obviously now my product is going into millions of homes worldwide, which makes me feel like a Bond villain, obviously a well-dressed Bond villain. But no, I think, for me, design is about communication. Design is about talking to people through objects. And I feel I'm doing my job properly now. I feel as if millions of people are owning my products, enjoying my products, using my products, it means that I'm communicating with them on the right kind of level. I mean, what's really nice, having said all of that, it's just being here. So many people will come up to me and will do a photograph or an autograph or something. They're only human, of course they've got to. But what's interesting is how many people then say, "Oh, I've got your duvet covers," or "I've got your wallpaper," or "I've had your china," and that always interests me. And I'm very lucky. I'm not an ambitious person at all. I'm not very into money. I'm not very into these kind of success things. But I am very, very gratified when I find that my brands now are so widely used. And I'm very lucky. I'm married to an incredibly good businesswoman who sort of takes all of that and turns it into money. Takes all that and turns it into money. That's why we're doing it. I don't have to touch this stuff.
You get it kind of when you get to talk to people as well. You've actually realise what you're doing, because it must be quite hard to get caught up in the process.
Well, the thing is, I've always been really lucky because I've never really properly felt that I was part of the sort of whole kind of celebrity thing at all, because I'm just still doing the job that I've been doing for 30 however many years. It's just I do a lot of it on television as well now, and so I've never really felt that kind of distinction. I think it must be appalling if you're an actor. If you're on EastEnders or something and everybody knows you as that bloke that hit that woman round the head with the glass ashtray, but you're actually not, you're actually just an ordinary bloke, that must be really, really difficult. For me, people talk to me and, and they go, "But you're just like you are on telly." Well, that's the point, isn't it? Although actually the point is the other way around, which is that I am who I am on television or at home. And so I'm never, I'm always sort of surprised, I think, still after 20 years, when people get that kind of celebrity frisson thing. And it's all a bit sort of, ooh. But what I really like is the fact that actually, when you speak to people, when you meet people, you're talking about an experience that they've had of the work that I do. We talk about interior design, we talk about design, we talk about, colour, we talk about wallpaper. There's none of that sort of gushing thing. It's funny when being in a crowd of other celebrities and, someone like Simon Cowell and, I was in a very bizarre situation once with Simon Cowell and Yoko Ono. I won't give you details, but you can imagine.
Sounds interesting.
Very interesting. And they are so different. For them, it's all kind of the celebrity thing is almost like the product in its own right. It's almost like that's the that's the goal. For me, design is the goal. Design is the thing that I do. That's my job. The fact that I do that on television is a bolt-on as far as I'm concerned. It's not the major point of it.
I've got one last question, because I know that you're about to be whisked off to do.
I know. Look, I've got an entourage just suddenly around.
Because I'm sure everybody wants to know, when you were doing changing rooms, did you ever have a huge disaster?
Yeah, you saw them all. That's the point of changing rooms. So you saw the disaster. What you never saw was when I got it right. You know what I mean? Oh, look, that's just great. No, I mean, I think what's funny is that Changing Rooms was really the first ever observational documentary. It was the first ever kind of reality show, if you like. All of these things like The Jungle, they came out of Changing Rooms. No one had ever done that before, which is to create a situation and follow it and film everything and literally televise everything. I always used to say that the outtakes of Changing Rooms was when I looked good and I got it right, because what you saw on the screen.
We never saw it.
No, you never saw it. But again, that's what made it accessible. I was always very proud of Changing Rooms. I was always hugely supportive of what it ended up achieving. But it wasn't a design show. It was an entertainment show that was about design, and that was an important distinction. I was very lucky because I then went on to do a lot of shows that were about design first and foremost, which I tried to make entertaining, like spinning plates, and, doing jazz hands and things like that.
Thank you very much, and good luck
Not
with
at
your
all.
talk.
Oh, will I need luck? I think they're all lovely. I'm sure it'll be fine.
I'm sure you won't have any hecklers like Toby Buckland.
Did he have hecklers?
Well, that's what he's told us.
Did he?
Yeah,
Really?
I think he's seeking
How
revenge.
could you heckle Toby? He's so nice.
I think he's seeking revenge and sort of tissue into everybody else's
Is he?
talks. Yeah, so keep an eye out for him.
I will do. No, very good. Excellent.
Thank you very much.
Not at all.